The film opens with the narration of a man mentioning a machine that turns humans into mutants. In the Stone Age, the machine came from outer space and became humankind's biggest enemy. An ancient warrior, Neachdain, united the ancient tribes to end their suffering and seal the machine deep down in the pits of the earth. From that day on, the duty to keep the knowledge of the machine alive through the Book of Chronicles is passed down to the descendants of Neachdain, also called the Brotherhood, who reside in the distant mountain ranges of Eastern Europe. In the present year, 2707, the world has been segregated into 4 sects: Capital, Imperial, Bauhaus, and Mishima. In order to gain power and resources, the sects are in a permanent war. A recent chain of events has led the Bauhaus to start a war with the Capital. 2 Capital soldiers, Hunter and Nate, are seen in the war zone side by side. While Hunter collects the name tags of his dead platoon members and reports the events to Nate, Nate burdens Hunter with the responsibility of his wife and daughter if anything happens to him. The raging war ends up breaking the seal of the machine, causing hundreds of mutant prisoners to reawaken and ambush both sides of the war. In the end, Hunter manages to flee in an aircraft, while Nate stays behind to fight the mutants. Subsequently, a kid hands a piece of paper to Samuel from the Brotherhood, which lets him know of the current situation. He takes one of his disciples, Severian, to the sacred room where he's kept the Book of Chronicles, alongside a couple of swords covered in webs. He reads the Chronicles among the Brotherhood in detail, and sheds light on how the intergalactic machine turns the dying humans into mutants. Samuel now talks about the reawakening of the mutants that are dragging every injured soldier into the machine in order to mutate them and turn them into the enemies of humankind. Samuel takes this matter to the higher-ups of the 4 sects. There, he comes across Constantine, who is about to make an escape with others to another world. Samuel stops him from doing so and tells him how the Book of Chronicles has prophesied of the reawakening of the machine and a group that will rise against the machine and destroy it. Brother Samuel believes he has found his calling, so he asks Constantine to provide him with some soldiers and a ship to carry out his mission to destroy the machine and save humanity once again. Constantine regains his faith and decides to stay on Earth. When his soldiers come to take him, he gives away his ship and a team of soldiers to Samuel instead. Meanwhile, Hunter goes to deliver the news of Nate's disappearance in the war to his wife, who breaks into tears. Later, he goes to the bar and drenches Nate's name tag in his drink before drinking it. Samuel approaches Hunter there and tells him about the great plan. When Hunter refuses to join him and cusses at him, he gives him 2 evacuation passes, which changes his mind. Those passes are delivered to Nate's wife and daughter, who were about to commit suicide by drinking poison. Up next, Samuel gathers a group of tough soldiers in exchange for evacuation passes. He brings the group to his church and shows them the Book of Chronicles. One of the monks states the main plan, which is to infiltrate a ruined city and find its cathedral, under which lies the lost city that holds the sealed machine. Hence, they must find it and destroy it using a piece that's been ripped straight from the machine by Neachdain himself. The ripped piece is like a bomb, which comes with a separate detonator. It can only be triggered when it's placed inside the machine and turned on with the help of a key, which remains a mystery in the book. Now, Captain Michaels from the group raises a question on how to deal with the mutants. To answer him, another member of the group, Maximilian, from the Bauhaus sect, takes them to a chamber where he's chained a mutant that was captured by his army as a test subject. According to him, the mutants cannot be slayed with normal guns, nor do they feel pain. The only way to slay them is to use white phosphorus. As he's talking about the mutant anatomy, the mutant breaks free from the chains and attacks the only girl in the group, Valerie, but she manages to defend herself. Severian takes out her swords and slays the mutant, which confirms that those swords also work on them. Back in the church, Hunter demands alcohol from Samuel, which is only consumed at communions. Hence, he holds a last communion in the name of Severian, for she is to join the mission as well. The next morning, Samuel and Severian hand out swords to each group member and board the ship that runs. Mid-air, their ship is attacked by another civilian ship that happens to be hijacked by the mutants. They end up running to the escape pod, which they dislocate from the ship in order to survive. When they open the parachute, it rips apart due to the weight of the pod. They end up crashing into a giant building and thrusting out from the other side of it. Captain Michaels gets badly injured, so he chooses to stay back and takes his life by exploding a grenade once everyone leaves the pod. Now, everyone makes their way into the ruined city. While the others try to navigate the cathedral, Hunter spots two greedy fugitives that are stealing from the public in order to let them on the evacuation ships. He finds it intolerable and intercepts it. He shoots one of the guards and tells the other to lose the luggage and fit everyone inside the ship. When he returns, Maximilian threatens to shoot at him if he goes on another side quest. Soon, the group locates the cathedral and the catacombs under it. From there, they make their way to the lost city, where they find a giant skyscraper. Samuel believes that the route to the machine lies deep under the skyscraper, so they march into the skyscraper and find a rusty old elevator. A member, Juba, stays in the elevator, while the others use some kind of mechanism to swiftly climb down the elevator shaft one after another. Hunter goes first and tells Samuel how to use the machine and come down. Samuel, through the book's knowledge, states that they are to go 60 stories below the skyscraper. When they reach 60 stories down, they find out they are nowhere near the ground. Simultaneously, Samuel falls down, but Hunter catches him by his chain. The chain weakens and breaks down, but Samuel swings and lands on a ledge. Unexpectedly, a mutant attacks Samuel off guard, but he defends himself. The ledge Samuel has landed on has a hole in it, exposing him to hundreds of other mutants. Hearing the commotion, Maximilian throws a grenade down, which Severian catches and swings right in the exposed hole's direction. Now, everyone takes out their guns and starts roasting the mutants. A good number of mutants attack Juba in the elevator as well. During the fight, the upper shaft of the elevator is cut down, causing the elevator to fall down at full speed. He manages to take down the last mutant on the elevator before crashing. The elevator falls right on the mutants and takes down the majority of them. The group takes positions to fight the rest, but Juba activates his grenade before dying and takes the rest of the mutants down as well. Moving forward, everyone comes to a dead end. Maximilian doesn't give hope and starts lifting up heavy rocks, believing that he's clearing out a passage. Samuel spills water on the ground, which leads them to a buried lid. They open it up and climb down to a path, which brings them to an elevated area from where they can see what the mutants are up to. Hunter spots Nate being dragged by one of the mutants and becomes emotional. He parts ways in order to save Nate. He takes down the mutant and unites with the severely injured Nate. Meanwhile, the group is seen crossing a narrow passage way above the mutant's den. Meanwhile, Nate is too injured to be carried around, so Hunter ends up shooting him with a heavy heart. Back at the passageway, Maximilian loses balance and falls off the bridge along with the holy book. Severian and Valerie hold his hand and secure the book. When Maximilian falls in the middle of the mutants, Samuel decides to ditch him and continue with their mission. But Valerie finds it wrong and jumps after Maximilian. The others follow her and fight hundreds of nasty and dangerous mutants that have sharp bones for arms. Despite taking down many, the mutants overpower them. One of the mutants pierces its sharp bone through Samuel and takes him away. By the time Hunter shows up there, everyone is gone except Severian, who breaks her oath and speaks in order to alert Hunter of an upcoming mutant attack. After slaying the mutant, Severian tells him everything that has happened. Hunter starts collecting the ripped-off pages of the Holy Book and asks Severian to read and provide guidance, but she claims she doesn't know how to read the book. This infuriates Hunter. He follows his instincts and reaches deep inside the den, where he strings multiple grenades together and causes a huge explosion to take down some mutants. There, he comes across a mutant dragging Maximilian and Valerie into the machine, so he slays the mutant and saves them. Now, they come up with a plan to go inside the machine. The girls are sent down the machine via a rope that is being held by the boys. They spot that a great number of more mutants are coming through the other end of a pile of stones. Maximilian walks up to them and blows himself up with all the grenades he has on them. The pressure makes Hunter and the girls fall directly into the machine. The girls are saved, but Hunter falls directly on the main slide, where he is tied down and operated on by a machine. He almost gets turned into a mutant, but he dodges the machine and breaks free from it using his gun. He then approaches the girls, where he sucks the venomous blood out of his arm and spits it out. He tells them to guard the place while he places the bomb inside the machine. The girls ruthlessly fight the mutants from both directions, whereas Hunter has trouble fixing the detonator inside the machine. Valerie's sword falls down into the pits along with the dead mutants, so she comes to Hunter for help. He gives her his dagger, so she goes back to fight the mutants. On the other side, Samuel shows up on Severian's side as a mutant, which tests her faith. Valerie is pushed off by a mutant and is sliced by a giant blade under the machine. Severian also gets stabbed and thrown off by Samuel because she refuses to fight him. Now, Samuel puts up a fight with Hunter, but in the end, Hunter spots a page of the Holy Book and figures out that their swords are the key to triggering the detonator. He pokes the sword through Samuel's chest and uses it as a key simultaneously. While the mutant lies dead, Samuel's voice comes from inside, telling Hunter to have faith and jump. He closes his eyes and jumps off. Dodging the giant blades, he falls into a pond underneath the machine, where he swims his way to the surface and watches the machine launch back into space instead of getting destroyed. Here, the film ends.
Thank you for being a part of Instant Movie Recaps. If these tales of mystery and intrigue sent shivers down your spine, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Instant Movie Recap for more bone-chilling narratives. Stay tuned, and until next time, stay captivated.